Good evening, everybody. Hope you're doing very, very well. Hope you had a great weekend. And this week, on Monday, we bring to you yet again a very special episode. Today, we'll be speaking about the power of a drop of tear can fill the heart with so many emotions. A drop of rain can nurture the barren earth. A drop of drink can be poison for the addict. A drop of love can heal any heart. Today we have with us the EFT specialist, emotional freedom technique specialist, an author, a humanitarian, a lady who supports innumerable causes that at least I know of. And I'm so privileged to have read the first few chapters of her upcoming book, In High Spirits. Let's welcome Desiree Punwani. Hi, Desiree. Hey, Desiree, how are
Hi,
you?
hi, hi. I was just unmuting myself.
How are you?
I am I'm so happy today that you and I are, face to face. I'm actually today in that same house where we had met just
Yeah,
before the lockdown.
yeah, it's
So
almost right now 13 months.
yes, it's 13 months.
God, how time passes, how
I know.
time.
I know.
And how far have you reached in your book, Desiree?
So this book, I call it my lockdown baby because I started it in August. At that time, I felt things were getting a bit heavy. And on 15th August, I completed 26 years of sobriety. So it seemed like on 15th August, so it seemed like a good day to start. And I have already made the final submission. So hopefully it should be out in the first week of June.
Wow, we so looking forward. We so looking
Uh,
forward to the book. Desiree, when you talk about 26 years of sobriety, uh, it must have been some experience, some journey to come out of an addiction and walk a path of helping others heal. And here we are talking about the power of every drop. Please share with us your journey about how each drop added value to your life and in turn impacting so many lives around you.
Okay, so many of my friends ask me that why do I still sometimes talk about that time? They say, it's all gone, you're a different person. And those who didn't know me then can't believe that I was like that. And those who knew me then also can't believe this new avatar. Okay. The reason I talk about it, and I only talk about it when it's relevant, is because I was in such a bad shape. And if I was able to come out of it, I think taking inspiration from that, my idea of talking about it is that, someone feeling that, well, if she could come out of that, I can come out. And also the fact that at that time, whatever were the traditional routes, like going to AA, for instance, or going to counselors, for whatever reason, didn't work for me. So whatever came my way, I had to create a path. And so even for people who feel that they're not getting the answers come. So what I realized is my blessing lay not so much in that I got better answers than others, but the fact that somewhere I have the trust to say yes. So even today, when a challenge comes or even a suggestion comes that, can you do this or would you do that, even if I don't know how, I say yes. because I feel if it has come, then there has to be a way to accomplish it. So I really feel that the reason I got saved is because I did not have two things. I did not have ifs and buts. I cannot do this, but, or whatever. That is one. The second thing is, I truly did not have complaints about others. My life had been a good one. And I think had I had the opportunity to blame someone else, it would have been a much longer route. So when people ask me, about it, and they want that typical story about abuse and a bad childhood, none of it, none of it. And I really, for me, it's a great source of solace that at one of the talks that my elder daughter had given, which was several years back, and she said, it is true that my mother was an alcoholic, but it is also true that she was not a bad mother. So, not in that. In fact, she said it is also true that she was a good mother. So what I'm saying is this combination of trust and goodness and the ability to believe I'm getting the answers to say yes, and having no one to blame was what saved me.
Desiree, today in the time of COVID, people are in isolation and people are going through acute emotional challenges.
Absolutely.
Especially when you are confined into a space, uh, even if you have your most loved ones around you, even if you have people who care for you around you, there are times you just want to get a change of environment,
Yeah.
maybe. Or sometimes you don't feel good enough in the environment that you are in, and there are thousands other reasons which push people into depression. And we have come across a lot of such scenarios where we've been praying for, you've been leading a prayer group where we've been praying for
Yes.
people day in, day out. Every day they've been prayers for so many various reasons and causes. So during this time, there are a lot of people who've taken up to addiction, whether it be a dry addiction or an addiction of a liquid,
Yeah.
or
Substance.
any substance, any kind of substance. And the greatest addiction that has happened is the addiction of screen.
Yes.
So, in such scenarios, how can we help people come out of their challenges one drop or at a time, or one step at a time?
So, as you said, that it is a very scary sort of a place. And many times the kind of feeling I get is that as I'm walking and as I'm going through my day, uh, it's like, suddenly the road can give in, suddenly it can cave in. And this is the kind of feeling a lot of people have, isn't it? That they were fine and suddenly it all caves in.
Yeah.
Because, somebody fell sick, someone's in hospital, and then someone even passes away, whatever. So this kind of feeling that I'm standing at the edge of this huge crevice, okay? And anytime anything can give. So I have not said this to anyone, and this is something I've been, thinking in my mind, and I'm declaring it really openly today, on this chat between you and me, that what I have been doing for myself is working on cultivating the ability to witness, because we don't know what we will have to witness tomorrow. It may not just be someone else or even the neighbor. It can be right here. It can be someone. So overnight, suddenly to witness is difficult. So drop by drop, as I open my eyes, first brushing off any energy of the previous day, which is of no use to me.
And the previous night.
And the previous night, yeah. Okay, so just brushing it off, that whatever needs to be go. thanking for the day, getting up, stepping out of bed with the right foot. And if I forget, sometimes I go back to bed and I say, let's start again. Because sometimes you just get up and then you say, oh, I didn't do my ritual. Okay. But also learning to witness, to observe. So, for example, if I'm standing in the balcony and I'm looking at a tree, to observe how many shades of green there are in that. And that same tree, in the evening, the shades will have changed completely. Just to observe without any comment, to observe the bird flying by, to observe the changing colors, to observe just, what I'm eating without comment. Because what is the biggest challenge for us is, at the moment, I'm not even saying it's going to be, because it already is, that we have to observe a lot of things which can create in us fear, aversion, anxiety, uncertainty, and we need to learn to observe without comment. So even though I'm observing only leaves and flowers and trees and whatever else, what I'm eating, but just to observe that this is the taste, not even that, oh, this is so yum, because then comes in craving. Or, or not even, oh, I don't like this very much. It's okay. So, because this is what the thing is asking us.
You are talking about is a very, very higher state, to be the observer, be the witness. What I am asking you about is for beginners,
So
space.
So, Kanchan, where's the beginner today? If you're the beginner, you're going to be kicked upstairs. You're going to be told, go to the higher state and observe. Those times when they have to go, they have to speed it up. So it's that kind of thing. So even a beginner can observe a tree and the colors. I'm not saying to observe your deep feelings and things like that. I'm saying just look at the tree which you can see outside your window. Learn to observe the colors, or or the birds flying. So what I'm saying is that there are lots of things that are coming up which today we are even afraid to feel. Like, today, if you hear that someone, someone dear to them has passed away, like a friend of mine, she has lost her mother and her brother, okay, to COVID recently. Father's very sick. I don't even want to feel it, because I'm so scared of feeling so many of these things now, because I feel, how many will I feel, And if I feel, what do? I can't even go and hug her.
This morning, I was having a conversation with a friend. Yeah. And he said, Kanchan, in the last week, I have attended 3 funerals.
Yeah.
How many more to go?
Yeah. So this is the time I want to step back and just to be able to observe, so that if I can't add something positive there, at least I'm not adding my anxiety and fear and complaint. And how everyone's saying, this is terrible. And those words, I would rather choose other words.
So basically, you're telling people to be aware of.
That's right.
Every breath.
Yes. And to start from where you can. Like, I find breath difficult. Okay. I have to tell you that, when I go for Vipassanas, I just can't follow my breath. So if I can't follow my breath, there are things I can follow. I can't follow smells. My sense of smell is very poor. But sounds and things around. So sounds, so if I'm hearing a piece of music, to try and see if I can hear the words or hear the instruments. And if I can even feel at least the percussion instruments in my body when I'm hearing it. That is observation, no? So you don't have to be in any elevated state for that.
For whomever, whatever suits, whether it's colors, whether it's nature.
That's right. Use a song.
Sound.
Yeah, use a song.
We have with us Bhairavi, who says, you always inspiring. Manjuji is here. Thank you for joining in, Manjuji. Keshav Arlalka says a hello. And from there, from moving on from observation, how, daily small practices can help one take a step further in life and elevate their current state, because the current environment, the current air around is the air of fear. It
Yeah,
is the air of insecurity, which are the lowest vibration energy. And
absolutely.
to heal the earth and to heal the virus itself, we all need to raise our vibration to the vibration of love. So,
True.
what are the various steps that can be taken?
So I'm just going to tell you a conversation that took place between me and a friend today. Okay. So this lady is really, really extremely weakened just now with cancer. She's come down to like 37 kilos of weight. She's sleeping most of the time. She's really very unwell. And, you know, the family is also tiring. And also, then to make it worse, would she and her children and her mother all had COVID, with, you know, the husband running around. So when I was talking to her, I asked her, I said, when people are not responding to you or, you know, helping you because she's feeling weak, so all the time people won't come running, what do you feel? Do you feel sorry for yourself? Do you feel angry, irritated? So she had a mix of things, but she says, you know, when they don't, then I feel, okay, I'll have to do it for myself. And then, you know, I do it for myself. And then after that, she falls flat again. Okay. So what I understood when talking to her is this: anger is a great fuel, because we all need fuel to move, right? Okay. So anger is a great fuel. It gives that push. But the
Yes.
thing is, it pushes you and it pushes you forward. But
Uh,
then if there is not enough good fuel to sustain, the thing will again stall. The machine or the car will again stall, you know, because it will just have these jerky movements. It will move forward and it will stall. So what I told her, I said, could we try substituting the fuel of anger with the fuel of gratitude? As in, for
wow.
every little small thing, okay, I'm so grateful for this, I'm so grateful for this, because that will have a slow start. It won't be like anger, which will push you forward, okay? But it will be self sustaining, it will go a longer way. So this is one thing which we need to do. The second is this. So she has this feeling of helplessness. I cannot do this. I cannot do this. I'm so helpless now. You know, I used to look after the children. I would run, you know, all this. And now I
But then
can't.
helplessness is a state where, currently,
This is it.
most of
Yeah,
the people
exactly.
are in a state of helplessness where you
Okay.
can't
Yeah,
step out of your home, you can't do the things you
absolutely.
wish to.
So here's my answer to this. So what is the mind hearing? I cannot do this, I cannot do this, I cannot do this, this cannot be done. Same thing for her, whether it's for my health reasons or the overall this thing, or, you know, I'm locked up, cannot. In her case, there are more cannots because the health will not permit. So my suggestion is, when the mind hears so much of I cannot, it believes it. I
Yes.
cannot, we cannot. All right. So for the smallest things that we do, and this may sound crazy to you, but this is the power of the drop. Oh, I can brush my teeth. I completed brushing my teeth. I can have a bath. I finished my bath. I can do this. I can do this. I can do that. I can lift this. I can read the papers. I can. Now, when you start off with that, the mind is hearing something different. And the mind is not that intelligent. It believes what it hears. So if it hears, I cannot, it believes. If it hears, I can, it believes. So then I can overcome. And in fact, my lifelong affirmation, I have taken it from Anthony Robbins, who has CANI, CANI, constant and never ending improvement. So when I was struggling with my
You repeat that for our audience.
constant and never ending improvement is what Anthony Robbins says in Awaken the Giant Within. When I was struggling to come out, I had changed that to I can, improvement, constant and never ending.
Wow.
So this is my affirmation for life. All right. So when you say I can, then the mind believes that, oh, even though I have tested positive, I can. Even though I cannot go out, I can. So we have to hear what we are saying, and we can only hear what we are saying if we step back and observe. So we have to hear what we are saying, and we have to start changing it drop by drop.
So when we start living in a space of gratitude, when we start thanking ourselves, what we do is we always go out and thank this one and thank that one and thank that one, like we thanking the whole world for everything but ourselves.
Yeah.
So when we thank ourselves, are we rewiring our brain towards a better life, or what is it that happens to the brain? What is it that changes in the system?
So first, let me tell you a little bit about what I've learned about the wiring of the brain. Okay, very, very simply. So I work a lot with cancer patients who are of the low income group and the middle income group. Okay, now when I'm doing tapping, on a weekly basis, I am teaching a very basic form of tapping to this kind of audience at a time with this NGO called Sanjeevani Life Beyond Cancer. I have anything from 50 to 100 patients at a time. I get 2 sessions in which to teach them basic tapping. Okay. And they're all listening to me and they're learning. They don't even really get to ask questions, yet they benefit. Now, there is a statement in that which says that even though I have this, I love, accept, and forgive myself completely. Okay. So I translate it for them in Hindi, whatever it is. Now, while we are doing it, suddenly, because I'll do a demo on someone, okay, online, suddenly I'll say, apne aap se karte ho na pyar? You do love yourself, right? And they'll always look, हाँ वो तो करते हैं. Okay, so they are wired right. Now, I have had clients who are not from the well-to-do class, let's put it this way, or whatever. All right.
Oh, that's the most difficult,
the
challenging
privilege,
space.
Yes. And they will say, I don't know if I love myself. I don't know if I can accept. So first and foremost, we have to understand that we unnecessarily, our wiring is fine. Like these people, you have to see them. They say, हाँ, वो तो करते हैं. Like, I mean, what a question. Why do you need to ask that? So the sad thing is that we have screwed up our wiring. We've got, because it's like, when we have too many devices at home and then all the wires get tangled up because we're keeping them together and we're spending so much time, separating the wires. So yes, so I think, but I think more than gratitude, in order to change the wiring, we have to start believing in our goodness. We have to start believing that essentially we are okay. We are good. We are not evil and bad. And, our basic programming is fine. And if we can just untangle the wires a bit, it'll be easier to reconnect with the goodness. It's all there.
So basically, everything starts from how deep you feel about yourself, or whether you can actually look at yourself and say, I love myself.
Yeah, so if you can look at yourself a little more lightly. See, we never talked these words earlier about I love myself. That's what I'm saying. When I look at these people, I say, karte hote, like they're not thinking, oh, I have to love myself. They may tell you their struggles. They may tell you they are unhappy. They may cry tears over so many things. But the essential wiring is sound. I'll give you one more example. I used to do this exercise long time back with people where they had to write 100 good things about themselves. And again, I would have people saying 100, I can't even think of 10. And I would tell them it was an overnight homework. They could go home and ask people around them to say one good thing about themselves and start writing it. And I did this in a municipal school in Jamshedpur with these kids. And I said, tomorrow you bring back 100. One thing though, they, हाँ miss, abhi likhna shuru karte hain. And the next day they came back with 150, 200, because there was no problem with it.
Because they do not apply the ifs and buts. You just flow. And the easiest space to flow is to believe.
This is what I'm saying. So if you believe in your goodness, and this is exactly what I told you, that because I didn't have ifs and buts, it was easier for me to come out of the addiction.
Okay.
So really, you have just proved what I said.
So one more question here, Desiree, that, during your 26 years of
Yeah.
sobriety, what was that one point, one challenge which was the most difficult? I'm sure that, you've spoken about it at various places, various times, but
So
then,
I haven't really. I'll tell you what has been the most difficult. The most difficult has been knowing that the roots of addiction are not yet uprooted.
oh, wow.
27 years, I have been free of alcohol addiction. After that, I went through a very serious addiction with coffee, like literally 10 cups of strong black coffee a day.
Oh, wow.
Then it was Red Bull. Okay, so now for 20, I don't know, 3, 4 years, whatever, there's been no substance addiction. Okay.
Mm.
And coffee is the only one which I can still safely have a bit. Like I will not even today have Benadryl because it contains alcohol. My body reacts adversely to it. We have to understand that a lot of addictions are our body's adverse reaction to a substance or a thought. Like many people's body reacts adversely to anger. They should not get angry, because when they get angry, their body releases far more chemicals than maybe yours or mine. So they need to have printed in front here that getting angry is dangerous.
Don't angry me. Don't angry me.
Exactly. Okay. So their body is like that. It's like, I know people who have alcohol addiction where that 1/4 bottle is enough to spin them off into all the addictive patterns, because their body's tolerance level to alcohol is very low. Whereas someone else would need a bottle in order to behave in that kind of way. So we need to know this about ourselves. So my tolerance level is very low. So I will not even have Benadryl because it contains alcohol, right? But the addictive mind is one that certain, like I have seen that a lot of, now my addictions come with certain computer games, okay? And only certain type I have seen. And which are those? Many of them are those which require a certain spastic movement of the fingers, Okay. Now this I have realized. Yeah. So this I have realized does not come from my drinking. It comes from my 25 years of smoking addiction. See, in smoking, okay, so when I gave up smoking, one of the things, and I gave up smoking 6 months after I gave up drinking, that was planned. Okay, one of the things I had to put in place was, what will I do with my fingers? So I had taken to worry balls. I had taken to those, worry beads, the stress balls and worry beads. Later on, I decided not to just spastically go on with the beads, but actually to start saying mantras. Okay. And then I started using, those clickers which you see in stores and airports, those people have. I started using that. And then I could do 25,000, 30,000 chants of, Tara chants or any other, Om Mani Padme Hum or whatever.
But wouldn't that be just diverting your mind instead of addressing the issue?
You are changing the pattern with something positive. You're allowing for that time the spastic movement to continue, but instead of it being used for smoking or other computer games, you are using it to create a more positive effect, which will benefit you, which will automatically, like that I do, I can't do, tilts the balance. This will start tilting the balance. And it's the drops. It's that one mantra that tilts the balance.
Every little bit counts. That every I can
yes.
do this. I can.
Yes, it counts. It counts.
And that is what leads to manifesting and designing your life, isn't it?
It does. It does. It does. And actually manifesting, and the beauty of it is that designing part, the creator takes over, because he thinks, he feels, and one thing I have to tell you, while you're doing all this, you have to keep him on your side. Okay, him, her, however you see. For me, it's somehow more of a male figure. For some people, it's more Devi, whatever. Although I have no images in my head. I have no Shiva, Krishna, anyone in my head, but it's kind of a male figure I talk to. And I'm always telling him what a great guy he is. and you know how nicely he helped me.
उधर भी bribe देने का.
You know, so he's a guy ना, bribe नहीं यार, वो फूल जाते हैं, मतलब you know how it is with guys, थोड़ी उनकी तारीफ करो तो बहुत फूल जाते, मतलब खुश हो जाते हैं, मतलब तो मुझे ऐसे लगता है. और I'm telling you, you know, even when I have to do my charity work, now suppose we have to raise 50,000, so I'll say, see God, 50,000 has to be raised. अभी आप कर दो तो ठीक है, अच्छा है, अगर नहीं करोगे तो फिर ठीक है, हम ही कर लेते हैं. And then I feel he'll say कि फिर if they do it, how will they believe I'm God? मतलब अगर उन्होंने कर लिया तो फिर मेरी क्या औकात? So then he rushes in and completes it before you can. And then I always tell him how wonderful and what a great guy he is, and thank you. So, so when you keep him on your side and he's so happy with what you're doing with this initial creation, he keeps remolding you. He keeps remolding you. And those things that they call wings and halo, that's what he creates around you. That's what they're calling the aura. So we don't even have to, you know, design our life.
Any effort.
Yeah, it's so, I can't tell you. You have to look at yourself and say, wow, yaar, kya kamal kar diya.
To reach that natural state of having that halo or the wings or the aura or the joy in your heart, we have to take that first drop.
You have to allow him to polish. पहले हम सफाई करके आते हैं, we have to clean up and come because he doesn't want otherwise, you know, ये क्या गंदा मंदा ले आया हमारे पास, तो साफ वाफ करके then he gets into the partnership, no? And while we are working on
basically make divine your ally in whatever you're doing.
Yeah. It's a great.
like ₹1 का प्रसाद चढ़ा है कि मेरा ये काम कर दो.
हाँ, नहीं, कोई ₹1 का प्रसाद नहीं. मैं तो उसे कहती हूँ कि मुझे प्रार्थना करने की क्या जरूरत है, इतने बड़े हो तो समझ जाओ. You know? So, yeah. And really, he understands. I really tell you, you know, someone came to me some time back saying that she had lots of challenges and there was something she was not able to do and she was feeling guilty. And I said, don't do it. And she says, how can you say? I said, you don't worry. Uske darbar mein main baat kar lungi. She says, what do you mean? So then I sat with him and I told him, I said, ladki hai, itne bade challenges dene, matlab utne challenges do, give that much as she can cope. I mean, if you're going to do like this is not fair, na, to phir wo bhi thodi cheating kar legi. You know, so then you establish a thing and then he also thinks ke haan theek hi hai abhi chalo. You know?
I remember our mentor Sidra talking to us during the Soul Spa about making divine your ally, about, you know, involving him or her, whoever you believe in every step of your journey.
Yeah. So, you know, when I was telling you that I have not declared, and I said that to develop the witness, the eye of the witness, but with that, there is something else. There is a commitment that I have made, and I'm declaring it today on a public platform because I'm hoping I'm confident I will get the blessings and the support, not only of the people, but of the universe, that irrespective of what happens, not for a moment will I forget to be grateful. Irrespective of what happens, I will always remember to make gratitude my first breath. This is my commitment in the time of COVID.
And it is that one drop of gratitude. It is that one emotion of, you know, feeling thankful for something or someone.
That one breath at a time. And it is a commitment because we are so scared to do it because we feel, I also am like that. I'm scared to do it because I feel then tomorrow, suppose I forget to be grateful. Suppose something happens where I feel in this situation, how can I be grateful? But then if we believe we have a divine ally, what is the use of having such a good partner if you can't create that kind of platform?
If you can't co-create with them.
Yeah, no, it's like someone, you know, partnering with Birla or Tata and then saying कि मैं ना वो क्या कहते हैं दरवाजे के हैंडल बनाऊंगा. I mean, तुम टाटा के साथ तुम एक बड़ी गाड़ी बना लो यार, तुम दरवाजे के हैंडल क्यों बना रहे हो? फिर इतना बड़ा पार्टनर क्यों बनाया तुम? you know. So if we have that kind of partner, then we should have that confidence to say na कि okay, I'm making this commitment, आगे देखते हैं क्या होगा.
So before moving on to a journey of reaching somewhere, establishing your goal, creating or co-creating it with your ally,
Yeah.
what and being in gratitude, what is that one step? Is it just commitment towards yourself or commitment towards your journey, or what is that one big thing that really holds you and pushes you towards achieving whatever you wish to?
So, okay, so my experience, again, going from experience. So
Yes.
initially there was not this kind of willpower and determination and all this, okay. Initially it was despair, it was desperation, because it was so bad that it was anything to come out of it, okay. And then as it started getting better, what I realized, and you have to remember that I was an alcohol addict, right? I was an alcoholic. This is slippery ground. You move forward 2 steps, you slip back 3 steps.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any
Now,
kind of addiction.
Yeah, exactly. So in that scenario, to just make that one single pointed commitment that no matter what happens, I will not give up. And that is what, and for me, that inspiration didn't come from anything within me. It came from the fact that I had very small children. So for me, it was, okay, whatever it is, I cannot give up. So it didn't come from any glory of mine or, nothing like that. Please, it was really a mess at that time. Okay, but it was this, that I love these children and I wanted these children and I prayed for these children. I just cannot, that's the least I can do, that I will not give up. And then slowly, instead of slipping back 3 steps, 2, and then suddenly you find I'm going to give you one example.
Yes, please.
When I was first asked to do the metta practices, the loving kindness practices, it required you only to say, be well, peaceful and happy to anyone and anything you see. Okay, so in the morning I would go out for a walk. Walks were new to me. I would start off, and I had to say to every sentient being, which meant every crow also, every living being. Okay, and I would say few, and then I would forget, and then at night I'd say, oh my God, I didn't do it all day. And then I told my teacher, and he just looked at me and he said, can you see how spiritually bankrupt you are? You want to give a blessing and you don't have one to give, because you can only give what you have. Okay. Now, I really started practicing and doing the meditations and the practice. 2 years later, I was going somewhere. I stopped the car to give someone a lift. When she got off, she said, be happy. And I said, this is the first rupee of interest that is being deposited in my bank. Those saals that I've been saying, be well, peaceful, happy, be well, peaceful, happy, I'm putting drop. Today, after 2 years, the bucket is full. The first drop has overflowed. And now it can only overflow unless I stop doing the practice, which you won't, because by then, you are already into the momentum of it. So, yeah, it is that. It is that. Energy cannot be lost. It cannot be destroyed. So how can the energy, so my negative energy also cannot be destroyed, and my positive.
All you can do is you can upcycle it and enhance it to convert it into something better for yourself.
Yeah. And that's what we do.
Around.
And that's really what, and this whole process of it is so, it is humbling, but it is humbling in a way where you start to learn to smile at yourself and you learn to take yourself lightly, because, anytime when something happens, you say, oh, really? So now Desiree has risen again. So, the humility is not that kind of, oh, main kuch nahi type. It is just understanding.
It's like picking yourself in every moment. Like if this moment I'm being sad and I've cried over something, next moment I have to pick myself up and be grateful for the moment that's gone by, so that I can live now and create something better for the next moment.
No, and also to know that, okay, I cried, and then to realize that maybe it wasn't also so much to cry about. Yeah, actually, theek hai, abhi ho gaya na. Ab muskurao aur aage badho. So really, And I love that kind of humility that is a blend of humor, self-deprecating humor.
Oh my God, I can never go there. I've done that, been there. Now it's like everything's like about self-appreciation. And we have with us Mala Shrikant. Hey Mala, thank you so much for joining us. We we have Sunny. Sunny is one of my boys from the foundation and a known journalist now in the Navi Mumbai circle. Thank you for joining Sunny. Jaya Punjabi is with us. Vandana Gupta, Desri inspires in many, many ways. Yes, she does. Yes, she does. In many ways. The first time I met you, Desri, I remember we had a conversation about the good work that you're doing in the community.
And you're doing.
Yeah, and I remember the very next day you arranged for some like so many bag full of clothes for the for the children in the foundation. That was so amazing. That was so heartwarming to have people who walk that extra mile to support people they don't even know. And that's the beauty of life, isn't it?
So you don't believe we didn't know each other? No, we were just carrying on a conversation.
Not about you and me.
Yeah.
Not about you and me. You and me, probably we know each other for
That's what I'm saying. We were just carrying on a conversation. Yeah. So Mala Shrikant lives in Ranikhet, and stitch by stitch, she has taught the women there to make world-class baby blankets and wraparound shawls. So stitch by stitch, drop by drop.
And probably we can connect with Mala post and talk about this more.
Yeah.
Here, Vandana says, everything starts with a drop, and Seema says, lovely talking.
So Vandana is the founder of VCare. Okay, it's a cancer support group.
Yes.
And I remember at one time, and she and I still laugh about this, I had gone to Goa. We had gone to Goa as a family for a holiday. And on the beach, I found flat stones, no shells. There were all these flat stones. So I collected a lot of them. And I remember telling my husband that, every child should have a stone which should be their own. And they can keep the stone and do magic with it. Of course, he didn't know what I was talking about. So I filled a bag with stones, and those days this weight problem was not there. Yeah. So I filled a bag with stones, and when we were at the airport, the fellow lifted it up and he says, "Isme kya patthar hai?" And my husband says, "Haan." So now I brought them back, and then I wrote affirmations on them, and whatever I rubbed them, and I put them in lovely pouches. And all the stones I sold, I gave the money to VCare. And Vandana still says, "Ye patthar bech ke." So again, it's that one little thing. It's this one stone, and I don't know how many of those stones I sold. And then I went on a conference to Goa, and I again told these people. So they told me, "But you're picking it up from the beach here, and you want to sell it to us. We can go and pick it up." So I said, "Then go pick it up." So then they looked at me. They said, "Yaar, par phir us pe jadoo kaun karega?"
It's not about any particular piece of material. It is about the energy that you add to it. Be it
the magic.
Yeah, it's the magic that you add to it, be it a stone or a piece of canvas or a book that you're writing. It's all about the magic that you've added from your wisdom, from your experience.
But you're seeing that in the art you're producing, aren't you? Then? And you're not producing it, and you know that.
Yeah, it's just being co-created through me.
He's saying good work, and you're also saying good work, and then it's happening.
I'm enjoying myself. अच्छा time निकल रहा है ना. I'm enjoying myself.
And he's also thinking कि आज लाल कलर ज्यादा था, मैं सोच रहा था क्या करूं, कंचन को दे देता हूं, वो अपने पेंटिंग में लगा देगी. So and then you put that red and you say, wow, this looks so good. So that's the partnership.
Desri, from coming to various stages and phases of life where each and every moment, each and every breath, each and every expression, each and every can and cannot makes such a huge impact in our being. And anger, you spoke about earlier during our
Yeah.
conversation. Anger is perhaps the greatest addiction we as humans suffer from. Ego is again a huge form of addiction. Like somebody's told you something which hasn't resonated right with your heart, you hold on to your ego, you hold on to your anger. You don't speak to the person for days, months, not even knowing that probably that could be your last conversation.
That's right. That's right.
So, how do we overcome these day to day life based addictions, which we are not even aware of, which have become a part of our being, be it ego, be it anger, be it even despair, even depression?
So I think that comes back to what you said about loving ourselves. It's literally like this, that when you feel angry, you drop into your body and you see what it is doing. And just now as I'm talking to you, and even as I'm thinking anger, and I'm not angry at anyone just now, all right, but as I'm thinking anger and I'm dropping into my body, I can feel somewhere rising near my solar plexus acidic kind of heat. Okay. So what I'm saying is, and I'm not even angry, I'm just thinking anger. All
Thinking
right.
of it, the term
Yeah,
makes your body heavy.
that's right. So what I'm saying, when we drop into our body and we see what it is doing to us, and we start feeling, no, this is not what I want to be. Not that how that person should be. This is not what I want for myself. My mother, it was such a big thing for me. I remember sometimes when we would be going somewhere, she would look at someone and she would tell me, Isko dekh, just look at this one. Isko dimak lagi hai. She's infested with white ants. And I would say, what do you mean? And it was such a strong term to use. She said, she's
Yeah.
very jealous of this thing, or very envious of this person or this thing. And she says, I can see how they are that eating her up inside, but outside you can't see anything, because that's how termites work, right?
Yeah.
First they eat up on the inside, outside structure collapses right at the end.
Much later.
And that image has stayed so much in my head, that as and if envy or jealousy come up, I immediately start feeling these termites are coming, these termites are coming. And mudita in Buddhism, which is feeling joy for others, is the antidote. So when you're talking about what can be done, the antidote can be applied, the medicine can be applied. So for me, mudita is like that chemical that will kill the termites. So although so it's like this, I'll explain to you the principle. Let us say I'm jealous of you for something. Okay. I recognize it. It's very important. I recognize it. And then I must feel what it's doing to me. Okay. So that moment of observation, the observer, the drishta. Okay. This is what it's doing to me. Now I don't want this. So what I do, I get the medicine. So the medicine in this case is rejoicing in the happiness of others. But initially, I don't use it for you, because I can't use it here, because this is where I'm having the problem. So I start using mudita in other places, because the jealousy is, let's say, 20%. The moment I start rejoicing for others, I rejoice for the break of day, I rejoice for the birds, I rejoice for my neighbor who loves his dog, I rejoice for children running on the streets, for the balloon seller. And as the mudita becomes 40%, this automatically
reduces.
Yeah. So then when I look at it, I'm so happy, feeling joy. So then when I look at you, I feel, okay, I'm really jealous that I can't paint that well, for example. Okay, I mean, I don't want to paint, but I mean, I'm just giving it as an example, because there's a painting there. Time. Yeah, okay. But I'm really jealous of her talent, but I'm also so happy that she's having these wonderful programs on her platform, Chai Shai. So then I have immediately neutralized one with the other. So for anger, it is metta, loving kindness. Okay. For miserliness, it is generosity. But we don't start off with what we are miserly about, So we give smiles, we give hugs. Then we enjoy it so much, we start giving money also. And then we say, wo kaise maine de diya, but now money has been given, you can't get it back. But then you give more and more. So this is what I'm saying. We cultivate the opposite, to put it very simply, so that the balance can be maintained.
Or do you, like, for me, what works is, instead of, looking at what the other is doing, for me, what works is that if I feel ego towards something, I start forgiving myself for it.
Yes.
And I say, I love myself enough not to feel a certain way. I would not do that to my soul and my body.
So same, exactly. You're just putting it in a better way. What I said, that the moment you're aware that what you're feeling for that person that does not feel good for you, you start forgiving yourself, and then in that thing there will come some humor and lightness where you'll tell yourself, Kanchan, chhod bhi na. That's what I'm saying. That's what I meant by that kind of humility.
Enough of being in the
it's okay now. Let it be now. Move to something nicer. And then you'll find when you meet that same person with whom you've had that problem, because you have shifted from that resonance level, that vibration, then when you're meeting that person, you're meeting them at another bandwidth. So then you can't carry that static, no?
And automatically their vibration would also change.
Naturally. And we don't know कि हमने कहीं by chance उनका vibration low कर दिया हो. How do we know? Why do we have to feel कि उनका low ही था, मेरा ही बड़ा था? This is what I'm saying. I mean, maybe यार वो चंगे भले थे, हमने ही जाके उनका बिगाड़ दिया.
Yeah, and that is why probably it is very, very important for us to observe our environment as well. Be witness to our environment and the people, what you started off with.
So, Kanchan, I want to say that this is a very high level. You are talking at. Can you talk at an ordinary level?
Desiree, I love you so much. So for a normal level, I think every morning I'll wake up and I'll thank myself for waking up.
And thank for waking up with a good thought. See, that prayer group helps with that, because the moment at the beginning of the day, it almost sets the compass. It's like you've tuned into the right station. And then later you may lose the tuning, but at least you started off. And I must tell you, I'm a person who never had a prayer ritual. I always wanted one, but I never had one. And I don't, I don't have rituals like lighting diyas and all this. In June, during the lockdown, I felt there were a lot of people who wanted to do something for people and they didn't know what to do. So I thought, okay, let them pray. And that's how I started the prayer group. Now I have to make the prayer the night before. Okay. And, I have to kind of reconstruct it very often, and because, make it non-denominational. And then in the morning, I must read it again and send it. It has created for me a beautiful ritual. So whether I'm sleeping at 10 o'clock at night or 2 o'clock in the morning, I cannot sleep unless I first create the prayer. So again, it's just that drop by drop, little by little, I found I had a ritual. And it came from that intention. Remember, before we started this chatting, you said we must set an intention. So that intention was to have a prayer ritual. So I think one of the important things here, and I think we both know it, we haven't mentioned it, is that we have to set our compass right by first making the intention. Otherwise, we'll go in any direction. So even for COVID or for fear, the intention has to be that I want to veer a positive course. Even if the winds are taking me this way, I can't fight the winds. But as soon as the wind dies down, I will go like that and then turn and come back in the direction that I want to go. So I think perhaps that could be the kind of intention we could make that would work for all of us. Because if we all said that my intention is to move in that particular direction, then even though this is strong, every time it puts us down, we'll again turn. And then finally, it should show up as the curve.
The curve in each one of our lives is so important. And what is more important than the curve is how we hold ourselves during the lows of the curve, how we hold ourselves while we come out of the lows, while we traveling upwards. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing such lovely wisdom with such simplicity. Guys out there, thank you so much for joining in. We have Yogita Puri, who's asking, how do you join your prayer group? Yogita, you can inbox your number to us and we will
Yeah.
make you a part of the prayer group. And thank you to each one, Vandana, Shweta Gandhi, Lakshmi Dhuwal, Ravneet, thank you each one for joining us today. We have Rekha Kishwani with us. Thank you each one of you joining us today, bringing your positive energy to the forum, bringing in your love to the forum, and helping us make it such a fun conversation about a topic which isn't an easy topic, a topic wherein each breath, each drop matters. Each drop is very powerful, whether it be a drop of water, whether it be a drop of rain, whether it be a drop of tear, whether it be a drop of blood, whether it be a drop of alcohol, whatever you wish to achieve in life, whatever you wish to overcome in life, may you be able to achieve each drop at a time in gratitude, in love, and in grace. Desiree,
And
once
thank you really, Kanchan, for really bringing out the best in me. And this thing that I could make this public declaration, I had never even thought of it in those words. And I'm so grateful that because of this session today, I was able to give voice to what I was feeling inside. So I really am the greatest benefactor of this. So thank you. Really, thank you so much. And I've loved every moment of it.
thank you. Thank you, guys out there. Do take very good care of yourself. And as always, love yourself. Good night, Shobha Care. See you again next Monday, God willing. Bye bye.